What's your other story? Let's go ahead and hear it. That was a great one.
Yeah, so now this is one that really changed my life because um I was on patrol for like I would say like it was like a 14-hour patrol day, and I was inside of a Humvee. Now, because I was a combat journalist, I wasn't necessarily looked at as like high up on the totem pole, especially because my rank was lower, right? So we had to do this thing called 5 and 25s, which is basically searching for mines. And the only way to do it is you need somebody to walk throughout the tall grass and walk and scan the area on foot. And they said, hey, who wants to get out and scan the area for mines? Which means is you may step on an IED, you may step on a bomb, right? And they're like, who wants to do that while we're all in the truck? Do you want to stay in the truck or do you want to walk on the ground and check for mines? And I'm like, I want to stay in the truck. They're like, yeah, right. You're the camera guy. You're getting out. You're checking for mines.
Wow.
And so I get out, and mind you, I have every bit of gear that everybody else has, that infantry has, but I have more because I have all my camera gear. So I have my camera on me as well as my lenses, right? In a drop pouch. Where normally you would drop magazines in a drop pouch. It's like a purse looking thing on the side of your gear. You drop magazines in there when you're out of bullets. But instead of that, I dropped my camera lenses, like the long telescopic lenses were in there. So I weighed about 220 or whatever it was, more than everybody else, because I had like 60, 70 pounds of gear on me with the bulletproof vest. And then it's also like over 100 degrees over there. So they're like, go scan for mines. So I get out, I start walking. And I'm like, man, and like maybe the base that we're going to was like, I would say like 100 yards away, like a football field length, right? So imagine you're walking this, but it feels like forever. And I'm walking this and I'm checking for mines. And then also I'm a black Marine, so I stand out. So my skin's darker. So I stand out over there amongst white Marines. So I'm patrolling, and as I'm patrolling, I see a little kid start to run up and try to get amongst the patrol, right? So you have options when you see something about to invade your patrol, right? Because you know where this is going, right? Like, people have the option whether to eliminate that threat or do nothing. So if there's a suicide bomber that is a woman, or a suicide bomber that's a kid, and they blow up the whole patrol and I end up being alive, I have to live with that guilt of not eliminating that threat. And that's that catch 22, because it's like, how could you kill, a teenage boy with a gun, or how could you kill a woman with bombs strapped around her? But it's like, it's either like how you said, us or them, right? But in this situation, this kid starts running up, and for some reason, I'm like, I'm not going to do nothing. I'm going to let this kid run up to me. This kid runs up to me. I look down and I look at his lips. His lips are parched and cracked. And we were by the Euphrates River, but a lot of water sources were cut off because at the Euphrates River, unfortunately, a lot of Saddam's men and stuff like that were dumping dead bodies in the water, so they were getting sick, so they couldn't drink from the water. This was going on for a while, even after Saddam got killed and everything, because people were still afraid. It's kind of like how Hitler was. Like, even though your dictator or whatever is dead or goes away, you're still scared. So there was still fear in the area, right? So they weren't drinking out of the water. They're still scared. They're dropping dead bodies in there. There's still people doing bad things over there. So this little kid was parched and dehydrated. His lips were cracked, bleeding. He looks up to me, and I look down at him. I'm like, wow, this looks sad. And mind you, at the time, Xboxes were very popular, right? Xboxes were really popular. Every kid his age wanted an Xbox, okay? This kid looks up to me and says, water. In my mind, all I was thinking was, I need to get past this 100 yards so I can get in and get those snacks and that cold water, right, that I have inside my tent. And this kid just wanted just plain water. He didn't care, just clean water. And here I am thinking, me. I can't wait to go in and eat, the MREs or the military meals or whatever it is. I can't wait to go in. It's hot out here. I want some cold water. I want an MRE. But this young kid wanted just some clean water. I would say maybe 6, 7, 8, something like that. Not too old, not too young. But that's all he wanted. So that changed my perspective. And I had a bottle of water on me. So I ended up giving him a bottle of water. But that totally changed my perspective and totally changed my gratefulness and appreciation of the freedoms And the luckiness that we have here in America, because we could have been born anywhere else in the world or be anywhere
Yeah.
else in the world, but we're in America. And no, I'm not saying we don't have problems. I want to make that very clear. Not saying that, but I am saying that I came back a lot more grateful and a lot more patriotic, and in the freedoms that we are afforded here. So
Yeah.
and that's what I want to clear up, because a lot of people go, "Oh, you're patriotic." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm patriotic, but I'm not oblivious." There's a difference.
I was just gonna say, Jordan and I appreciate you telling that story. But Jordan and I, we actually just recently talked about a similar, right, the background of what you're saying, right? The lesson of what you just mentioned is, when you're having a bad day, what you're experiencing is relative to your experiences, and you have to know you are going through something, but somebody else is going through something. Everybody is going through something. Some people are going through things that seem worse to you. Some people are going through things
Yeah.
that seem not as bad to you, but it depends then on that individual and how they're dealing with that trauma, how they're dealing with that situation, and understanding, using the principles, equal in nature, different in degree, right? And understanding that
Yeah.
we all struggle. And that was one of my go-to when I was younger. One of my go-to kind of thoughts when I was stressed out or I felt like, oh, woe is me. I would think about, like, they do those commercials where like the kids are starving. And they'd be like, give us
Yeah.
$1 a day or whatever. Because that, I was a kid in the 90s, early 2000s. So I would think about those and be like, wow, it's not that bad, Trent. It's not that bad. You have food, you have this, you're stressed about whatever, homework, a girlfriend, whatever. It didn't matter what it was.
Yeah.
And now that I've gotten older, I've started to accept, because before I would just repress my, what was bothering me, because it's not as bad, right? It's a way to use relativity. But then I got to a point where no, I need to accept that I'm going through something. Not woe is me, but accept it. Yes, my life, it does have these troubles. And I need to accept that other people are going through things too, and not just repress my own problems.